Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Nicole Quinn with the Fine Homes Group, sitting in for Diane Davidson today, and I'm here with Bill Weidecker.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about the process rather than the market.
Yeah, it feels like we've been, we talk about market numbers all the time.
Yeah.
And so people know it's kind of like the beat goes on, the song remains the same.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good.
It changes, but the message is usually the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a good place to start. Process, sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Things work well when you do them in order,
Yeah, of course.
and they tend not to work well when you don't do them in order.
Yeah, very much agreed. So would you like to talk about the buying side of the process or the selling side of the process today? Because I think we'll need to split those up because we could go on for quite a while about
Yeah.
that.
So let's talk about the buying side.
Okay.
And you work with a lot of buyers,
I
so
do.
this will be helpful
Yes.
for you to chime in also.
Mhm. Absolutely.
I think what happens with most buyers is they get excited about the potential of buying a home of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they already have a home of their own, they get excited about the potential of something new.
Right.
What do? They look online and they start looking at houses that might be of interest to them, and then they go, oh my God, let's go look at this. And already they're out of sequence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could not agree more. Which brings me to say that the moment that you have even an inkling that you might be looking to buy, even if it's a second home, you need to get in touch with a buyer's agent. The more that you are ready before the rubber hits the road, the better, especially with how quickly the market moves these days.
Right. I mean, and the internet gives you you see all these things, and lots of the properties that pop up online are usually gone within 24 hours, and yet the internet doesn't quite know yet
Yeah.
because it takes a while for those sales to be reported, 2-3 days in some cases, and so you're looking at something, you go, this is fresh. Well, it's going to be gone by the time you're
It's
ready.
fresh, but it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also feel that the discussion ought to be something like this. If I'm looking for an agent, talk to people that you know are friends of yours or family of yours that have just recently been through that process.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a good recommendation
Uh-huh.
for an agent for
Right.
you. And if not, I mean, we're good. you can use us.
I have like 7 recommendations, and they're all on our team.
Yeah. So, but that process is usually, reach out to a professional that can get you all of the tools you need for the journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what we like to do on our first buyer consultation appointment is really make sure that they are set up with all of those tools for the journey. So we go through every part of what the process looks like in detail. We even do a mock offer so that the client knows before they find that house that is the one that they're just so in love with, that they know exactly what we need to do to get there, so they're as ready as we are. And then, of course, we make sure that they're set up on the financing side, and if they need a recommendation for someone to pre-approve them, or even better, fully approve them through underwriting, we are good at matchmaking with that as well.
See, that sounds to me, when knowing it as well as we do, that sounds like everything's in the proper order. Because if you know that you've got all your financing questions answered,
Yep.
because Lord knows, once you start in that discussion with a mortgage professional, there's lots of questions you didn't think about that now in context you've got questions. When that's happening out of sequence, you're nervous. You didn't realize there were going to be all these questions that you had in your head. You didn't have any idea what closing costs were going to look like.
Yeah.
And now you got a home that's on the line possibly that you may or may not get.
Yeah.
It gets very distracting and very stressful when handled out of sequence. When handled in sequence, Nicole,
Yeah.
it's like it makes total sense.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also, just to add to what you said, it can also be very discouraging for people when they do things out of sequence and they miss out on something, because that seems like they lost out on the only one. And it takes some time to get back to that emotional place of being open to finding another place again sometimes.
Yeah, the home we looked at and liked is gone. We're going to have to live in a tent the
Yeah,
rest of our
pretty
lives.
much. That is the feeling.
Yeah. Well, and listen, when you're buying a home to live in as your personal residence,
Mhm.
it's emotional.
Absolutely.
It's not like you're buying a piece of real estate as an investment where it doesn't have that emotion attached to it. But I do feel if you've got a real estate professional that you meet with who introduces you to a mortgage professional, now you've got two people that are on your team
Yep.
with you.
Yep.
And you're kind of ready to go. They can also make recommendations for home inspection services.
Yep.
This mock offer, I would love for us to spend some time on that. What's the beauty of that? What's the benefit of that?
Yeah, I mean, I can give you the general idea of why we do it. So the reason we do it is because when we go through an offer, and I know this has been said on this podcast a bunch of times before, but there are over 100 spaces on the PNS and only 2 refer to price, and all of those other terms are things that we need to discuss with every offer that we make. So if I, as your agent, am spending the time to explain those things on the fly when you're emotional and rushed, you're not going to have as deep an understanding and feel as confident about making that offer as you would if we have gone over a mock one already before we ever start looking at those homes and you understand already what those blanks mean.
Yeah, because artfully having that discussion when there's nothing on the line, it's more intellectual,
Yeah.
and the learning is easier.
Yep.
Because you're not like, oh, there's so much going on right now. What else
Yeah.
What else do I not know?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if we bring the education in order, when the time comes, they go, oh yeah, now I know why we did it that way.
Yeah.
It makes total sense to me now.
Absolutely.
And we want to set you up for success, so
That's the whole idea. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Anything else we need to cover with buyers?
With buyers, I would say that the other thing with buyers is a lot of times the first conversation that I have with them these days is, how long is this going to take? And I don't really think there's an answer to that question, because it can be, we can go see, well, I've had it happen recently where we saw one property and made an offer and they got it, or it's been several months, and it really has to do with people's needs, what their budget is, how competitive that budget is in the market, and a lot of other things. So again, it just comes back to making sure that we're prepared in advance, getting everybody on the same page and on board and ready to roll.
Yeah, because you really want to make sure that when it comes down to putting that offer together, you've got, as somebody on your team, a skilled negotiator, somebody that can get you, tilt the odds in your favor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Well, I think that was helpful, and we'll have to do one for the sales side of things too, because I think that
Cool.
also needs to be done in order.
I think when we'll get there next, so
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yes, we'll see you soon. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to our YouTube channel.